Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on.
All right, welcome back to the Bring Me to Life podcast. I am Suleiman.
I'm Shannon.
And we, on our last episode, we're talking about a lot of things. Being some about, narcissism and gaslighting and also religion and spirituality.
Harry Potter.
Yes, Harry Potter did come up in that discussion.
We've been watching the Harry Potter movies recently, and I just keep reminiscing about how they changed my life.
Yeah. Changed a lot of people's lives.
They opened up so many just perspectives for so many people, and like you said, your dad was super religious. Wasn't he going to school to be like a pastor or something?
Yeah, he went to school to be a pastor. And it was funny because when I started to read Harry Potter, he was not about it because of religion and it talk about magic being evil or whatever. But through that series, he really opened his mind, and I think he opened a lot of his heart too, because he was a very more conservative, kind of closed-minded dude. But after that, it was like his whole life was different. He changed. It changed him.
I think it changed for like a lot of people. There were just so many good aspects of that whole series. I loved the friendships. I loved the strength. I loved the hidden messages.
Yeah.
I loved the just the whole story of how they came together.
Mm-hmm. The whole thing, the whole series was about the one thing that Voldemort didn't have was that Harry did was love and friendship. And that was like very clearly stated in, I forget what it was, whatever came after Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire, the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, Order of the Phoenix.
Phoenix.
When they when Harry is like, or Dumbledore and Voldemort are fighting, and then Harry's like, I feel sorry for you because you'll never have friends, you'll never have love.
Yeah, the love that they feel for one another, and no matter how many times Harry tries to go out on his own, his friends will never leave him. Like, even when their lives are at stake. Like, that's some straight up loyalty right there. Like, taking care of your tribe in such a way. Yeah,
their tribe is so connected. And I think it's because they're open-minded and open-hearted. Hermione was considered a mudblood to all the pure blood people in the magic world and got talked down to a lot because her parents were muggle-born. But she was one of the most badass witches in the whole series.
Yeah, she was so smart and she was so open-minded. Imagine coming from a mudblood family and not knowing anything about magic and having to experience that. And I'm sure she thought she was really special, but she had a lot of confrontation. She had a lot of discrimination. But
prejudice.
She just wanted to be special, and she was so excited and smart, and she proved her worth through and through.
Oh my goodness, till the end.
She ended up with one of, at one point, the least respected wizarding family to one of the most respected wizarding families. She married Ron. And spoiler, sorry.
Oh snap!
It's long enough.
I think the Weasley family is a huge family, and one of the, they helped save the wizarding world.
Yeah, all of them were so brave, and they came together. Yeah. And
Ginny was fucking dope.
I loved at the end how Ginny and Harry got together. I need to make sure that I write that there's all kinds of spoilers in this one for anyone who's just now getting into Harry Potter for any reason. But yeah, it was so magical. I loved that they came together. Him and Harry and Ginny had a traumatic experience in the second book when her whole body got taken over by his worst enemy. Like, imagine the amount of trust that he has to have with her now as an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're talking about a book, but imagine that amount of trust he would have to think, oh, my now wife was once literally a weapon of mass destruction with a basilisk trying to kill people by my enemy. And then now they're so full of love and they conquered the darkness and all of that together through the end. And then there's also just so many other powerful characters. So there's like, this is going to bring up a quote I love quotes. So
yes, more quotes.
So Neville's one of my favorite
Neville
characters.
Longbottom, one of the more underrated characters in the series.
He was one of my favorites. Okay, and the quote's not by him, but
one
it's
of the
about
most
him.
brave of his entire class.
Yeah. Well, that comes to my quote. Albus Dumbledore's quote was, "It is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities."
Sure. That's so true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that quote is at the end of the book, or one of the books, when he goes to give the points out. And I think it might even be like the second one too.
Yeah.
Because
where they win the House Cup.
And Neville tries to stop his friends.
Yeah. He says, I won't let you. You're going to get us in trouble.
And even though he doesn't succeed, it's his choice. His choice to stand up for what he believes in. And though if he would have, then the whole school would have been messed up. But it was still the fact that he tried and he used that power. But
he took on Harry Potter.
That took some serious courage.
Yeah.
And it was also because he was afraid for them. He cared about them.
Yeah.
And he shows that. He makes up for that in the later series too, where he goes and he shows himself, and he shows up and he realizes that he's fighting for his parents too. That's why he's one of my favorites too. Is he was the kid who also didn't have parents and he wanted something to believe in. But going back to Dumbledore's quote was, he made a choice. They all made so many choices, and we make so many choices in our actual life. Part of the reason this quote was brought up for me is I think it's important to make a conscious choice of how we treat others and how we compliment others and how we show up for each other.
Be conscious about what we say and how it makes others feel. Yeah,
I shared a video about my why on YouTube, and some guy left a quote or like a comment or somebody, it might not have been a guy, and they were like, why do you insist on feeling like you're special? And it makes me think of this Dumbledore quote, and it's like, well, it's not my ability to be special. It's my choice to show up. It's my choice. Yeah, it's like I make the conscious choice to show up and take action. You make the conscious choice to show up, take action. So many of us take this conscious choice to show up and take action. And I think it's more important. And why put people down? Like, I actually kind of giggled at it because I figured if I have haters, that means I'm doing something right.
Definitely, yeah.
But it goes back to wanting people to compliment.
It comes from a limited perspective. Almost like they're trying to be right with everything to make them feel powerful, because maybe as a kid they had some sort of traumatic experience where they think being right makes them fulfill their purpose somehow. Makes them feel like they're winning the game based off of how they went through their life as a little child. That's just what I am like in my head wondering, what's going on there? Because why would you just go out of your way? First of all, it's one thing to actually go and click play on the title
of anything.
Probably says what you're going to talk about.
And it was on YouTube. It wasn't even on Facebook. I mean, it was on Facebook, but he commented on YouTube.
To listen and then to comment, it takes a lot of effort to do that. So why would you take a lot of effort to make somebody feel unspecial? Especially if, from my perspective, knowing that we're all one, we're all kind of mirrors to each other, I feel like that's just hurting yourself and putting yourself down.
Definitely. Like, well, it goes out to say like people that are more focused on talking badly about things or their fears or just the negativity rather than talking about the positivity. And I used to be somebody, and I'm getting out of this habit where thinking that people don't like me or like worrying about it or like making the assumption. We talked about the 4 agreements in the last episode, making the assumption that somebody doesn't like me because of the way that they're looking at me or something. I think that happens a lot to us as humans. I used to think it was a female thing, but I think it's a human thing. Like we worry that someone doesn't like us.
Oh man.
So I've made a habit of trying to, if I think that way, I don't want that person to, I don't want to feel like that person doesn't like me. I look at that person and I ask myself what I like about them. And I know it's maybe a false belief to hope that that's what they're thinking about me too. Like, what do I like about this person? Instead of thinking like, what don't I like about this person? But I like to think about what I do like about that person. And then I try to get the courage to give the compliment. Because so often I find that people are more willing to leave a negative response or a negative comment. Like that person went out of their way to leave that comment on my YouTube. I'm excited. I'm getting more comments. I hope you guys leave comments, but like
it is dings it up a little bit in the search.
But it's weird when you get just a negative when you're like, wow, this person went out of their way to watch my video, and they think I'm thinking I'm special, but really my whole video, the one that they commented on, was like, what is your why for living? So it makes me think like this person's making the conscious choice to not think that they're special, and then I get sad for them.
I need to comment on that video.
But yeah, I hope all of you go comment on the video, watch it. I get kind of emotional.
What do you say it's called?
What is my why? What's yours? That's what the video is called. Actually.
How did you spell that?
PFFT.
Okay. That is.
How would you spell? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I was thinking like more like a humph.
I wanted people to realize like, I want to know what your why is too. What's your what's your why? Yeah. So that goes back to, so I try to look at people, and on like Facebook too, like if I have something negative to say, instead of causing a ruckus, I scroll past it and then I look for something on someone's to be positive about. Like, yeah, that's awesome. Oh man, I love that art. You had a great day. Yeah. You made some rice pasta. Cool. Like whatever. Like
some cauliflower rice.
I would love to like cheer people on. Like that's what we need more of. We need more people complimenting each other, not being afraid to talk to each other, not judging each other, thinking, oh, this person hates me. No, think that person loves you. Don't cross any boundaries you shouldn't, but just go up and compliment them. Open up a conversation. You don't know what to say. Think about what you like about somebody and tell them, because everybody loves knowing why they're awesome. I think you're awesome.
Ooh, I think you're awesome.
Good. I'm glad.
You want to know why I think you're awesome?
Sure.
Because you always wake up and smile at me.
I like waking up and smiling, waking up and shining on.
It's just it's like when we wake up and you like feel or look for me and you know that and you see that I'm still there, then you get all happy. That's one reason why I think you're awesome.
Well, I love that. I think a lot of partners need to know if you enjoy just waking up and knowing they're there.
Yeah.
I get really excited when I know you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get sad when I think you beat me to the bathroom, because it could be a while.
Oh, you're funny. I journal every morning when I go to the bathroom.
I think that's really cool. That's something I like about you. I love that you love to write. I love that you love to journal and keep track of your experiences. I think that shows an intelligent person.
I mean, it's just like I have a few years where I can go back, and some months I write every single day. So I could just go back and be like 2 years from now, what was going on that day?
I think that's really cool. I like that feature about Facebook too, and I hate it because some of the throwbacks I'm like, whoa, I'm not ready for that one.
Too early.
Yeah, but I do love being able to go back and just, you can see such synchronicities and like growth, such growth when you can go back and look at it. So I love that you document that so that we can go back and see our growth. I also love that you like to help keep things organized.
It's to me, it's important because what's going on within you becomes represented in your outside world, and then vice versa. So when I go through and I vacuum or I straighten things up, it helps me to clear my mind and clear my thoughts. And I know that it also freshens up the energy, so your creative energy after a fresh clean is way more powerful.
It's so true. I'm always like, I want to do all the things as soon as you vacuum. But then I also second guess myself. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't because it's going to make a mess. But then I just go for it anyway because my brain's so clear and like wants to get in that project. So I love that.
Mm-hmm. So it is important to just tidy up and, get all the dust and the dirt out. And it feels good on my toes, especially the carpet when it's freshly vacuumed.
Yeah, I mean,
it just makes me feel so much better to see a freshly vacuumed floor.
CeeLo loves to vacuum but hates to admit it.
Having a freshly vacuumed floor is just a great feeling.
You like to sweep too.
You know what I'm saying? Who likes going down and your bare feet get crumbs and stuff all over them?
Nobody likes that.
Yeah, I don't like that. And plus, the stupid, what are those fruit flies? I'm trying to send them to better lifetimes.
Bugs are such weird creatures.
Bugs are very weird creatures, but some of them are so cool.
I really like moths. Ooh, fun story. Can I tell a story?
How about you tell a story?
It goes into one of the reasons that I really enjoy our connection.
Well, one reason why I really enjoy our connection is because I'm always hearing such cool stories from a great storyteller.
No, thanks. So, fun fact about bugs. This one time there was a moth, and it was such a magical moth.
Mm-hmm.
The weekend that CeeLo and I met, we were at a music festival. We were students at this one. We weren't teaching. We were students.
Yes.
We weren't we were there experiencing it. We had a good time, but we weren't there to party. We were there to be students and appreciate
have a
the knowledge.
Connection spiritually.
Yeah, we had a teacher there that connected us.
Mm-hmm.
It was a transformational festival.
Yeah.
2014. But I was volunteering it too, so I had a shift. I always like to give back to the space. The land that it was on was a magical land to me. It was actually one of my first music festival experiences. Nice. And
it's a cool spot. Giant hill.
Yeah.
So much space and beautiful mountains.
Sunshines and daydreams, full of them. So I had a shift in, I think it was like parking or front gate or something to help make this event run. And I was up there alone and I was just having a spiritual experience. I was going through a really intense emotional time. I was meeting all these new people that I felt really connected to, but I also felt really lost and confused on how to feel really. Cause I felt like I was spreading my wings, but I didn't feel like a beautiful butterfly at all.
You're probably, you were destroying your old life.
I came from a really dark spot.
And that's a lot to take in when your whole world gets destroyed and you got to build it back up.
I was in a relationship that was holding me back. I was just finishing college and realizing that college was fake to me or wasn't exactly what I needed. But at the same point, I look back now and I'm like, it's exactly what I needed. It was everything I needed. But at that moment, it wasn't. And I was meeting all these new people, but I was coming from a really dark place. Though I wasn't addicted to things, I was surrounded by people that were addicted to things. And I grew up in a life where a lot of people were addicted to things. So I was getting really scared. And it was just a really dark time. I saw guns. Yeah. I saw death. I saw people stealing from each other. And this wasn't at this music festival. This was in my life. This was my previous life choices. So I went to this music festival, this transformational festival, and I had this shift and I was working and I was thinking a lot just about how my choices had got me there. And I had just met CeeLo. I had just met Ashton. I had just met our friend Selena that had introduced us all, and our friend Sky, who was also performing at the festival, and Ashton was performing, and Selena was teaching, and CeeLo and I were there kind of as students, as synchronicity.
Yeah.
And
we rode in the same car together.
Yeah, we rode in the same car together. He came to my house just off a whim.
It was interesting seeing someone drive my car while I was sitting behind you.
You instantly, we were just like magnetized.
Yeah.
And I don't like the terms twin flames. I don't like the word soulmate.
There's just so much pressure.
No, I just think they're weird words. Like we're soul buddies. Like I knew your soul.
Yeah.
I didn't know everything about you like twin flames assume to. I didn't I didn't instantly assume we were mates, like soulmates.
No, it took a while as it developed over time.
Soul buddies. Like I just knew that we were meant to be friends, but I didn't know how. And I'd also just come from a place where my friends just kept abandoning me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, maybe we're supposed to be friends. I'd really love to, but like I keep getting shot down by communities and put in bad places. So I was scared.
Right. Good friends. I was like, yeah, I could be friends with her.
So it was a night shift in this parking volunteer job, and it was kind of sprinkling, and the people that were running the booth at the time were just tired. Everyone was cranky. So I just kind of like went behind the tent and I didn't realize I was meditating, but I was kind of like meditating / praying and just like thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting under this light in the darkness, and I didn't realize that I was a moth to the light, and I was just hanging out there by myself. And then this guy came up and started talking to me, and I guess he thought I was lonely, and it just felt really weird at first. But he was like, just, your shift's almost over. You've been doing such a good job. Like, you'll be able to go back to your camp and just hang out. And I'm like, I'm actually okay. This is kind of cool just being here in this light. I was like, I feel like something's happening. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I just feel like this is such a beautiful event and something bigger is happening here for me. And it was just weird because within that moment, I felt something coming up behind me, and it was you. And I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
But right at that moment, the moth, do you remember the moth?
It flew up into your...
I was wearing a poncho.
Jacket.
Yeah, I was wearing one of those
rain poncho.
Plastic ponchos because it was raining, and I was just kind of sitting there in the drizzle, just having my moment. I wasn't big on crying, so up until I met you, crying meant that I was weak, and I didn't like that. I didn't want people to see me crying, so I didn't need to cry, but sitting in the mist and the rain felt good. It was cleansing me. This guy comes and talks to me, and out of the darkness, here comes CeeLo, and I think you were with Trish, or one of our friends at the time. And I remember wondering, like, well, at first, because I was still in kind of jealousy mindset, like, oh, he's wandering through the darkness with this girl. And being like, okay, this is weird. I kind of like him, but I don't know really anything about him, so I can't care. But then before I could even, like, get distracted with those thoughts, the moth just flew up in me. And it just fluttered and fluttered. And it was such a magical experience. And it was still very much alive. Yeah. So I like picked up my poncho, and I think I just let it fly, and we had our experience.
Yeah. While you were doing like sitting down and stuff, I had this magnetite point that I was using basically, and I would just throw it up in the air.
Oh, so you were using a magnet?
Yeah. I was using a magnet, and I threw it up in the air, and wherever the point would be pointing, I was like, that's where I gotta go. So it like met up with Trish somehow, and she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just following this. She's like, and then she ended up following. So, and then eventually, after a while, it led me right to you. And then as I was coming up, I saw that moth like floating up into your heart. I was like, whoa. And then that's kind of when I knew you were like somebody special.
I had just found my light. I didn't feel like a butterfly. I felt like a moth. I felt like I was coming out of the darkness, and all I wanted to see was light. And I think I got off that shift, and then I got to like walk back with you guys, and it was so cool because I wasn't in the dark then. And so many times I went off to do a shift and like my friends kept partying and stuff without me.
Yeah.
And I was left to like go about my night by myself.
Yeah.
And I was always like alone and abandoned. At that point, I didn't just have you as like a partner. I had friends. Like you had Trish with you. We went back. We met up with like several other people. There's like a picture of us out there somewhere where it's like me, you, Ashton, Sky, and a couple other people.
Yeah.
And that's when I felt like our tribe really started to activate. Like we haven't got to keep in touch with Trish. Trish, if you're out there, I would love to hear from you. But so anyway, we went back to our tent and then we went throughout the weekend. Well, at the very end of the weekend, I had one more shift. And it was such an intense shift. So I had just met Ashton, I had just met Sky and everybody, and they had a sunrise set. Oh man, I got introduced to sunrise sets. Usually I was the mom that was like asleep before then, even though I'm not a mom. I'm the youngest, usually the youngest crew.
You were still like working when it was like sleep time for a lot of people.
Well, yeah. And then we went to their sunrise set and was up until 6 a.m. And you guys all started going to bed, and I had a shift at like 7, and it was like 7 to noon or something. Back at the same tent, I just had that monumental moth night with you.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I was sitting in the tent again, and it was like the day most people were leaving, and there was some controversy going on with like volunteers' paychecks. So there was a lot of hate and frustrating. I think it was the last root wire. It might have been like the second to last root wire. A lot of weird stuff went down, but so there was a lot of weird energy at the booth. And I just remember focusing in the corner and thinking about that moth and how beautiful the whole experience, the whole weekend was for me. Meeting you guys, seeing that land transform. The Rootwire family built a beautiful nest on the land and had so many really cool altars and stuff I had never seen in that land before.
People just took hundreds of little twigs and built like this giant bird's nest almost. It had hay in the middle of it.
And mirrors and flowers.
Yeah, people did workshops in it.
There's a picture of there somewhere of people. Yeah, we've got lots of pictures of the weekend we met. It's pretty cool because that was the thing I was into then was photography. I was doing photography for the event too. Yeah. But anyway, so I was at this tent and I was really scared and just sad about what was about to happen because I was like, man, I met all these beautiful people. I hope I don't lose this community and have to go back to the darkness. And as soon as I had that thought, it is bright and daylight out at this point. And I hear Ashton and Sky coming around the corner talking about their set. And I'm like, I know those voices. I know that energy. And they sit down with me. And as they sat down, the moth from I swear it had to be the same moth. It was the same size, the same color, same everything. In the broad daylight where you don't see moths flew up to me in front of them. And they both stopped talking and they were just hanging out with me because they saw that I was kind of having a moment and we'd all just connected. And I had just been wondering if I was going to lose this community. And the moth came and we had a spiritual experience and moth was just like playing on our hands and then it just peacefully died. But it did it in such a majestic way that it showed me that once you find the light, the darkest part of you can then still follow the light and find your community. And I did feel like a part of me kind of like passed away and died with that moth. But then I had such a beautiful community then. And I still have that moth, actually.
Yeah,
I made like an organite. Yeah, I made that organite out of it. But the cool thing about that organite is there's actually 2 moths in the organite. And when we came back, you guys ended up staying with me for a little while on and off because I was going through some intense stuff with my grandma. And we were having some intense moments with our teacher. And there was just a lot of events that led to the Nights of Michigan week of adventures. And as soon as I thought I was going to lose you guys again, I thought I was going to lose my community. You guys were all just going to go back to Michigan. I was down here in Maryland wondering what the heck just happened. Another moth came in the daylight and just landed in front of me and passed away on a walk. So now I have 2 of those moths, and moths have just been such a powerful thing for me. I talk about butterflies a lot. A lot of people connect themselves with butterflies, the transformation, the metamorphosis of how caterpillars go. They make this cocoon.
Yeah.
And they turn into goo.
Yeah.
And then they come out beautiful. But sometimes there's moths too.
Do moths start as different caterpillars?
They do.
Okay.
sometimes they're the really ugliest looking caterpillars, the scariest looking caterpillars, because they come out at night. You know how some of the fish that are in the ocean, the darkest fish down deep, are like the scariest looking fish?
Yeah.
That's how moth caterpillars often look.
Wow.
And then they turn into some of the most beautiful, beautiful moths and like winged creatures.
Yeah.
I love lunar moths. And
Man,
things like
some
that.
moths look like dragons.
They do. Some of them.
Some moths are huge. Bigger than your face.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're really cool. We're blessed that we have a barn space kind of close to our house that's got a big light on it. And
so many moths.
Yeah, when it's dewy out and moist and like right in the midsummer, there's so many different kinds of cool moths. There's other scary looking bugs too, but there's a lot of really cool looking moths.
So many bugs. So many types of bugs.
Yeah, but then we get to watch the moths, and then it's cool because we also get to see the bats going after the moths, and then we get to see the
cycle of life and death.
The owl just kind of watching over. And yeah, it can be kind of morbid, but it's also beautiful. Just beautiful to see nature interact in that way.
Yeah.
Be in nature.
Yeah, and it's more important than ever to get out and enjoy nature. I love it. I love being out in nature. I try to every day that I can. I go out there and I just count my breaths for a while, and then I just exist without needing to do anything. I just try to put all my awareness on what's going on around me.
Being in that moment with nature.
It's so healing, so clearing too. Clearing.
I think it's really cool to like go out and explore new places.
Yeah. I really love exploring new places, exploring new things. And that's one thing that I love about you, is that you like to explore and just as much as I do.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting better at it too. I used to have to be very aware of everything that was going to happen and like plan my trips, and I'm getting a lot better at just going with the flow. I love that about you, and how your story is that when you feel the calling, you just go for it.
Yeah.
You follow that passion, you follow that spirit. You've met so many amazing strangers that have been great people for you. Definitely.
And, I'm really looking forward to both of us being able to travel in the best way for us as soul buddies.
Soul buddies. I really love the term soul buddies.
Me too. I think it's delightful.
It's like
delightful.
So much less pressure.
Pressure.
I think soulmates are people, they can be friends, they can be family.
Yeah.
They can be anybody. And soulmates are like people that you've made a pact with in previous lives. And I definitely think you and I have made pacts, but I think it's also to not try to be the other half of each other.
Right.
To be the other person's whole and not the other person's half.
Right.
So, and I think that's where twin flames are having some issues, is they've tried to commit each other to being the other person's half.
And that they can't be like a whole flame without.
Right.
But it's like, if you think about it, we're all flames. We're all individual flames.
That
but
make
when you
one
put
fire.
Yeah. But you put those flames together, it just gets bigger.
And
the more candles you add, the bigger it gets.
Yeah, and the more one flame smothers the other one, sometimes it goes out. But if they work together, they make a big, beautiful, like purple and empowered flame.
Yeah. A healthy flame.
I like that. I wish more of the twin flames that were having issues right now would realize that they're mirroring each other, and that it's important to just look at all the perspectives and all the point of views, and to not hold so much accountability on other people to make you whole or to understand you completely. Yeah. Just hold space for that.
Yeah, I would say don't get caught up in roles that you think you have to have in this life. Yeah. And it's okay if it doesn't work out with somebody, and maybe they are a twin flame, but to constantly put that out there to make people feel pressured, it's hard. If it's meant to be, it will be. You don't need to talk about it.
You'll just feel it. I think it's really cool to find somebody that likes opposite things than you too, so that you can like work together to find middle ground.
Yeah, it's hard to be if you had almost like a clone that was whatever, not connected to you in a bloodline that you could be attracted to. I don't know. You might get annoyed with yourself.
Right. I think it's important to respect that too. I mean, they say opposites attract, and I think that's true in some ways because like we admire the things in the other person that we can't do most often.
Right.
But if we can't communicate about it, it can kind of cause problems.
Yeah. I feel like some of your strengths, you know, complement my weaknesses or just things that maybe aren't natural to me.
Definitely.
We complement each other.
Yeah, like I really like to get crafty. I really like to get hands-on. You like to get more physical active and go on like hikes and things.
Yeah, I love it.
Where I'm like, I could sit and design things on a computer for hours. Or like get messy and paint. And there's also like, I don't know. There's other things I really enjoy too, and I think they're pretty opposite. Like, I don't mind having my clothes not messy, but like out and about. You're somebody who likes to have everything kind of like folded and unseen or in a dresser or in a closet. And me, I'm like, oh, I want to stick these outfits here and this here. That way I see it.
Since I was a kid, I just, I had a dresser and kept it in the dresser.
And you
I
also
actually use mine. I actually use my dresser.
My dresser holds things. I just not my most worn things because you've seen how annoying it is to shut my dresser. Imagine if all my favorite clothes were in it.
We set up a better system for Shannon for who she is, you know?
Right. And that happens. And I love that about you is when you want to help me with something, you ask me or you adapt and learn from how I do it. And then you help me with it rather than just expecting me to do it your way.
Yeah. Sometimes I get in trouble for trying to help a little too quickly.
It's not a good idea to clean my desk on a full moon, guys.
Oh, man. That was rough for a while. But
all my projects, it was like taking my brain and you just ripping my brain out. And I was like, ah,
yeah, but reinstalling it, like think of all the good things that happened.
It made me get a lot of things done. You did. You ripped my brain out, reinstalled it, and then I had to defrag for a couple days.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I love
but it. I'll not do that again.
Unless I ask, right. Then I'm sure you would.
Yeah, maybe.
If I ask nicely.
Yeah, if you ask nicely. For sure. That's important in a relationship. Is that you can ask for help and you can offer and provide help.
I think it's cool that we can help each other.
Yeah. 4 hands you could do much more with than 2.
2 brains.
Yeah.
More than 2, like communicating with friends and family.
Yeah.
Broaden communities.
Definitely.
You don't have to have a partner to be happy either. Like you can find opposites and friends and just have friend groups that support you. I think that's something important for your community to know too, is like we work really well together, but you don't have to depend on another person. I think it's important to be your own whole.
Yeah, I think so too. That's one thing I try to make clear in this relationship is that we're not just a half of a person. We are a whole person. Like we're a whole flame by ourselves that can survive by ourselves, but we can come together and make the flame bigger. We can have much more fun. We can share this great experience of life, which I've heard from multiple sources that is one of the most important things in this life is sharing your experience and your connection with others.
Yeah, with others as a whole. Be open to communicating, open to the ideas, open to complimenting each other.
Yeah.
Tell people why you love them.
I think being open with you has been one of the best things I could have ever imagined in any kind of relationship.
Yeah, having a friend I could talk to. We were friends for several months.
Yeah.
Even though we like lived together and like stayed together from basically the moment we met, which is pretty wild and weird for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we just held space for growth. I mean, we both had a lot going on, for sure. But it was just important to be there as a community and to show each other that people didn't have to be walking out all the time or be super dependent. They just need you there.
Yeah. I think it's a good sign that both of our families love each one.
Yeah, they usually say, like, if you're somebody who gets along with your family and like you respect your family's values, like, yeah, sometimes families don't like your partner and your partner is great for you. But in some senses, like, if you're questioning it and you honor your family's values too, and like you respect them in their opinion, and they don't like the person you're with, that's probably a sign that that person's not treating you right, and they can see it and you can't.
Yeah.
But our families love each other. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well,
I love your family.
Yeah,
that's another thing I love about you is I love your family.
Yeah, our families are great, and that's so good. I'm glad we can have that kind of connection.
Sometimes I think they think I'm crazy or weird, but they still love me.
Well, I think it's because you respect, my family connections, and it's important to be able to respect your partner's family as well. Like, there's a certain code and a conduct with another person's family.
Definitely.
It makes life a lot harder when somebody's making a ruckus with their partner's family.
For sure. I think that we could do a whole podcast on that, like the family code of conduct and like respecting each other's boundaries with that kind of space too.
Yeah, this is going to be a great season. I'm excited for everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. You guys are great.
So great.
We've covered a lot of things here.
Cotton candy grape.
Ooh, if you haven't had a cotton candy grape, I suggest it because they're delicious.
Oh, I know. I took a bite and I was like, what?
Made my heart chakra happy.
It's crazy. So tasty.
All right. I think we're going to end this one and feed into another one here. I hope you stay tuned. I hope that you tell us something you love about the podcast. I mean, if you have something negative, that's fine. Give us some constructive criticism.
Yeah, if you're going to be negative, at least
constructive criticism. But we would love to know your favorite part. We would also love to know questions, topics, things you want to hear us talk about. Talk to us. Check out bringmetolife.com. Excited about it.
Bringmetolife.com.
And check out.
Get your awakening on.
Yeah, our Facebook, our Instagram. Let's create our community. We love you guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay awake, shine on always.
Namaste.
Bye.
For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, that's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.